So GoWalla just quote-unquote sold to Facebook, although I think everybody knows that it wasn't a very successful sale. And one of the narratives in the disappearance, essentially, of GoWalla, I think, has been the success of Foursquare, its increasing domination in this location services-based space. One man who's done a lot of thinking and research about Foursquare and its power is the communication specialist and best-selling author Carmine Gallo. Carmine, welcome to TechCrunch TV.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Carmine, you've just come out with a book called The Power of Foursquare.
Right.
7 innovative ways to get your customers to check in wherever they are. Mm-hmm. Before we get to those innovative ways, why did you choose to write a book about Foursquare, which, after all, is still not a particularly well-known company?
Well, I didn't think we needed, a 50th book on Facebook. I didn't think we needed another one on Twitter. So I was looking for something new in the social media space that actually still connected to communication. And when I first heard about Foursquare, and I talked about it with a publisher, McGraw-Hill, we were thinking about it. I thought, just like most people think, oh, Foursquare, yeah, that's that mobile app where you check into a restaurant and maybe they'll give you a free appetizer for checking in. That's what I assumed, and most people do. Until I started meeting realtors who are using Foursquare very successfully. Until I started meeting small business owners who credit Foursquare, along with other social media tools, for growing their business significantly during a recession. Until I started checking in on Foursquare everywhere I went, anywhere in the world. And everywhere I went, for about 5 different countries that I visited over the last year, people are on Foursquare, and they're checking in everywhere. And companies are using it in totally innovative ways to attract, reward, and engage people in ways that were never possible. And that's when I realized this is interesting, not because of the tool. I don't care about the tool on the mobile phone. That's something I could write about in half a page. Here's the manual. Here's how to check it out and play with it. I'm more interested in the companies that are revitalizing themselves in the age of social media and mobile media by using these tools. That's more interesting to me.
So from your point of view, the real story about Foursquare is from the point of view of companies rather than customers.
I think that customers who enjoy this stuff, who like to share their lives with people, they love Foursquare. They've passed 15 million customers so far. They're gaining about 1 million new customers a month. And they've had about 1 billion check-ins over the last year, or total. That's a lot of people using Foursquare, and it's growing rapidly. So I'm not so much concerned about the customers. They're going to keep using it. But in order to keep engaging people and to grow this platform, it's the businesses that really need to understand the full power that they have in this tool. That is a free, easy-to-use tool for them. A lot of the major retailers have already started using it. Whether it's from Starbucks to Sports Authority, Toys R Us, Macy's, they're getting it because they have marketing teams and they're on this stuff. But the real power is all of those small businesses anywhere in the world who can do exactly the same thing as the big companies. They can do exactly the same thing. They can do it for free.
Well, Carmine, you've got your book here. I'm not really pitching the book, but here's your opportunity to pitch those millions of small business owners,
right?
People who own restaurants and bars and small retail outlets, people perhaps in the car business, in the transportation business. Why should they use Foursquare? What's in it for them, for small companies?
When the American Express company launched a partnership with Foursquare, its chairman, Ed Gilligan, said, "We go to where our customers are, and they are increasingly on places like Foursquare." It doesn't matter to me whether you use a tool like Foursquare to check in and to share it with your friends, or to become the mayor of anything. The mayor is the person who checks in the most in one physical location. It doesn't matter to me whether you use it or not. The point is, if you are a small business owner of any type, but especially if you have a location, your customers are already on it. You already have people who are fanatical about checking in to your venue. There are so many fun, innovative and creative ways that you can have conversations with them, not just giving them promotions. I talked to a restaurant that's having huge success in Baltimore because what they've done is they have a 2-hour line for brunch on a Sunday morning. So what they do is they say the mayor is rewarded by cutting to the front of the line, and you can bring 3 friends with you. That's different. That's innovative. It's creative. And every time the mayor unlocks a special, that mayor is sharing the special with their wider network on Twitter and Facebook. So here is a perfect viral opportunity for you to start using the mobile media to extend promotions and conversations that maybe you're having on other social networks. Everybody wants to get into mobile. We know that's where social media is going. This is a free and easy-to-use tool for you to begin experimenting with that.
Why did you call it the power of Foursquare rather than the power of location services?
Because, Andrew, I think location services to me is a really dry
Well, it is
category.
dry, but maybe you could come up with another word.
Location-based services.
Well, the power of location.
Yeah.
Has Foursquare, like Twitter or Facebook, essentially become a noun or an adverb? When we talk about location services, are we essentially talking about Foursquare? Because I noticed even the title of the book, Power, is capitalized, but not Foursquare.
Because, yeah, that's their trademark look of the actual title is a lowercase f. But, and so we just went with that. Because location-based services, Andrew, it's so broad because people don't quite understand that everything they're doing on their smartphone is location-based. If they're checking into Yelp or if they're using the new Siri, you know, on the iPhone 4S, everything is location-based. So people get a little freaked out with, well, I don't want my phone to know where I am all the time. Well, it already does. So
well, that doesn't make people feel any better.
Yeah,
right?
No, it doesn't. So I just didn't want to get into that whole location-based category because there's so much to it. Let me be honest with you, too. I think it gets very complicated. I read a book that was a For Dummies book, Location-Based Services for Dummies. Well, they had pages and pages. It's not a bad book. It's pretty good, but it has pages and pages of all of these different types of location-based services. Whereas when you just talk to the average business owner out there in America somewhere, they don't know how to get into it. They're very confused. They're afraid of mobile. That's why I just wanted to focus on one tool that right now, I don't know where they're going to be 5 years from now. I'm not a forecaster. But right now, they're the pioneer. They're growing rapidly. And it is a fun, easy-to-use platform that can really provide some meaningful moments between a brand and its customers. And I've got a lot of ROI. People want to know about ROI. They want to see proof. We've got proof now that it works.
We had a forecaster on the show talking, Marianne Saltzman, who talked about major trends in 2011, and next week we'll have a show in which she talks about major trends in 2012. You say you're not a forecaster, but you've obviously done a lot of thinking about Foursquare. Is it possible that Foursquare could do an end run around Facebook and Twitter and become this central company in the social media space? Well,
I think it would be very difficult only because of the scale. I mean, we're talking about 15 million users versus Facebook's 700 plus million users. And I think it's a very targeted tool. It's a targeted tool in that it's not a tool to be used on the web. It's a tool that helps you explore your world when you're out walking around. And that to me is very targeted, but it meets that target really, really well. And it makes it fun. All of the badges and the mayorships and all of these things that as a business owner you can learn by going on the site and by using it, that creates fanatics. And that's very powerful to me. The people who use Foursquare, my wife included, who has mayorships at about 10 places in town, when she loses a mayorship, she gets really upset. She will go and visit that company again to keep checking in so she can regain her mayorship. I have never seen such fanatical people around the world who are using Foursquare. And I think it's those type of people that you need to tap. You need to have more conversations with them.
Well, Carmine, finally, can Foursquare then survive as a standalone company? Doesn't it need to grow?
Well, it's certainly growing by the number of people it has.
But in terms of the narrow vertical that you're describing,
yeah.
Can it survive in this increasingly sort of oligarchic or even monopolistic social media world?
Well, I mean, you never know. It is backed by venture capitalist Andreessen Horowitz, so it could very well be a part of a bigger company at some point. But right now, they're just focused on growing their base, and that's important. But also they're really focused, and this is really important, on getting more companies to participate. They have 500,000 merchants on the platform right now. 500,000 merchants are using it. But I think we're going to get to this point where if people are not rewarded enough, if too many companies where they're checking in aren't doing anything on Foursquare, people are going to start getting a little tired about checking in. So I think for now, Foursquare is really focused on let's get more business development, more merchants on the platform. And they've also got a lot of college campuses on the platform as well. College campuses are using this as a tool to sort of a mobile tour guide. So there's so many more exciting things it can do than simply exchange a coupon for coming in and checking in.
Well, Carmine Gallo, the author of The Power of Foursquare, I want to thank you for coming on to TechCrunch TV and telling us about the innovative ways in which you can get your customers to check in wherever they are. Carmine, thank you so much for appearing on TechCrunch TV.
Thank you.